Rooted in resilience, inspired by nature, powered by movement. The podcasts where healing meets empowerment. Let's rise and thrive together. And now, here are your hosts, Scott and Melissa.
Hey, everybody. We just wanted to pop in and let you know about our Sedona Soul Retreat coming up in June of 2026, June 2nd through the 6th in Sedona, Arizona. Where we're going to have it at?
The Briar Patch.
It's
Beautiful. It's just this amazing little nugget.
Yeah.
In Sedona, where you think the big red rocks, which you'll see those, of course, but then there's this little sanctuary of green. And one of my dear beings that just shared with me this morning that they will be attending, looked it up and was like, "Oh, that's my place."
Yeah.
They just like felt the connection, and it's very spiritual energy there, and we're excited for holding space for all of us to be in that frequency, that vibration.
It's right on Oak Creek, and we were down there just a few weeks ago checking it out to ensure it was the right fit for our folks. And we are excited about this retreat. It's our second retreat, and we're on our way to selling out. So please check it out at Vital Edge Wellness Coaching Wellness Retreats. You'll see it at vitalwellnesscoaching.com, Wellness Retreats, and sign up. Bring a friend. There's plenty of room. If you'd like double occupancy, you can come down, and we have private cottages and a lodge setting. So that's it.
It's exciting.
Enjoy the podcast.
Yeah, we'll see you there.
We're here. We're present. Hope you are too. Welcome to Rise and Thrive, a podcast by Vital Edge Wellness Coaching. Scott Sadler here, along with Melissa. And she's going to do our mindful moment in meditation. And today we're going to continue our work around unconscious beliefs. This is deepening the work. So Melissa, bring us into the deepening work.
So I want to offer each of us to do something. So usually I offer you to close your eyes, but I'm going to ask you to look at something, pick something to not look at to define, but just literally to just let your eyes rest on. So you're not trying to talk to yourself about what you're looking at. I want you just to give a simple anchor to your gaze. And with that gaze, let a nice deep breath happen into the belly, into the sides, into your back. And then as you let it out, relax your jaw and your tongue and your shoulders. And let your eyes just continue to just have a soft gaze. Relax your forehead, your eyes. Feel that sensation of the inhale and the exhale as your gaze continues to just be soft and at ease. And just let the eyes rest. They maybe get a little fuzzy, or just notice. Notice if any thoughts came in, and just gently let them pass by. Come back to that soft gaze and that sensation of your inhale and exhale. And then let a nice cleansing sigh come in once again. That inhale, feeling it in the belly, the sides, the back. And as you exhale, as you complete that exhale, let your eyes blink a couple times. Go ahead and kind of look around. Yeah, eyes might be a little watery. You might notice your focus came in and out a little bit. And part of my reasoning for our moment there I know we've all probably experienced this, where you're just staring off somewhere, kind of zoning. And often the brain's working in the background. And that's
Often.
yeah. Well, it is working in the background, but it's an avenue to that subconscious, the unconscious. That's why we often catch ourselves like gazing off, because our brain needs something. The eyes are like the visible part of the brain. So we anchor onto something. Some of you might have heard of brain spotting. But that's kind of a simple way to describe it, is your brain needs to, like, the eyes need to hone on to something, and then that allows access to some of that unconscious.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
So we'll see what comes up as we chat today.
Yeah.
About the unconscious.
Yeah. The last time we talked about the idea that many of the thoughts, reactions, and fears we experience and patterns are not random, that they're connected to unconscious beliefs that were formed long ago, maybe even lifetimes ago, if you believe in the past life experience. But more closer to this life, they're generational beliefs, maybe imparted to you by family and maybe by your influences of where you were raised. And it's not about blaming the past on those things, because not all unconscious beliefs are bad beliefs, but it is about becoming aware, that awareness theme that we have on this podcast, and pausing long enough to understand that your conscious beliefs are born somewhere before they become outpictured in your thinking process.
Or your behavior.
Yeah, that's the third part, right? They're born somewhere unconsciously, then they become a thought.
And then it becomes the action.
It could become action, right? So those unconscious beliefs are what we interpret life through that lens. And you've seen two people or more experience the same situation completely differently, and the beliefs underneath their perception. In my workshops, I use this cartoon model of two people looking at a number on the ground. It's number 6 or number 9, depending which side you're. And they're yelling 6, 9, and they're both right. So, another example is someone hears silence and they're perfectly comfortable with it. Another one hears silence and goes, they're upset with me. They're not talking to me. Both are true.
Right. It's
both
based
in
on
their own minds.
Based on that personal brain's past experience, applying it to that moment.
Exactly. Well, and the belief creates the meaning. The event is neutral, right? The number 9 or 6 sitting on the ground is neutral, but if they walked around,
right, they'd be like, "Oh, look, now it's." But then they'd believe it the other way.
Yeah, they'd see it. Oh, it can be both ways, right? So,
if they had the opportunity to look from both sides,
and the awareness,
right? Because if they were so stuck in their belief and they switched sides, they would then continue to fight.
They just keep walking until they got to their side again. Yeah.
So that's the curiosity that I have and that we talk about, is remaining curious when we are looking through our lens and we're noticing something that somebody else could be noticing completely different.
Right.
And be open to that.
Well, a lot of our coaching work is centered around this, especially when it's sponsored coaching work, meaning a company or an organization hires us to work with someone as their client because they want their behaviors to change in some way. And it doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
Right.
They may want to get better at something, and they want to bring in someone from the outside to help with that. And they may be stuck in unconscious beliefs. And a lot of our work is, focused around helping people change their behavioral beliefs, which is why I became an NLP practitioner.
Yeah.
And I use a lot of that work with changing that language, because then your brain can have a different way of expressing or understanding a situation. That's going a little bit into a rabbit hole, but it's the same. It's that neuro-linguistic programming, reprogramming sometimes of beliefs that no longer serve you. Because they operate quietly.
Right.
Right.
Well, and like you said, opening the episode here today is like that key in on awareness, that just even spending time listening to this episode today, you're sitting there listening to us chat, but you're thinking through your lens, and maybe it's activating some of those unconscious beliefs like, oh, okay. You start to that's part of why podcasts are cool, because I just was sharing this in a class earlier today, that, we can all come together and see through different lenses and support one another. And I lost my train of thought, but it was good.
What happened in class?
Well, that's what I was trying to think. What happened? I just lost it. So it'll come back. So keep going.
Unconscious belief coming through.
I just turned 50, so there you go.
Yeah, that's right.
No, see, that's a belief.
Just crossed over the other side.
That's a belief I can let go.
It's a misbelief.
It's a misbelief.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
I think that, that we don't realize that we're living inside those beliefs, though. We think we're simply describing reality, and that may be true, but it may not be true. So some ways you can focus on this is ask yourselves, what emotional pattern keeps repeating in my life? What situations maybe trigger me most deeply? We all have triggers. We all have fears. What do I fear underneath the reaction to these things?
Right.
Because sometimes it's not about the reaction, it's about not reacting when a reaction would be appropriate. And then I'd ask you to consider, if this reaction had a sentence underneath it, what would that sentence be? The emotional charge, if you could put it into words, what might that be? And can that provide you with some clarity over uncovering that unconscious belief that never stops working in the background?
I'm quiet because I'm like going deep, and I'm trying to it's interesting to think about that, because my brain goes back to what you said for a moment ago about like perception of being true or not true.
Yeah, well, one of the examples is of I'm alone. I feel alone, or I feel lonely. That's a true feeling. Now, the unconscious belief behind it might be something completely different. I don't know what it might be, but because you feel lonely, it may be tied to something unconscious. Maybe as a child, maybe you were an only child.
Right.
And that's what you know, but you want it to change. There's something you want it to change. And so then you go, my conscious belief is that I was an only child, and so therefore I always feel alone. When in reality, you could go out and find your friends, start dating, whatever it may be,
right.
to change that unconscious belief to go, no, that doesn't mean I'm stuck in that unconscious belief. I have some control over it.
That just sounds like it makes me lead to the word label. Like you've labeled yourself, and until you're aware of that label, can you then begin to take action to change that
Rip
label?
it off.
Yeah.
Well, and unconscious beliefs we're talking a lot about the mind right now, but they also live in the body, right? And we talk a lot about the body in this podcast, and we talked, I think last time, the issues
in the tissues
end up in your tissues, and the body remembers everything.
Well, and that's something, again, we're always learning more. And so some current science data out there is like sharing the body, right? The vagus nerve, if you know that, travels a lot of information coming between the brain and the body. And they used to think a lot of it was brain to body, 80% coming from the body to the brain. So we also they're finding it, yes, we think the tissues are holding it, but it's the brain's wiring, some of the traumas or different things, or the belief. If the body tightens up to something, that activates that wiring, and that belief network gets kicked on. I'm lonely. I'm, always this way, right? You catch me sometimes using that word, the always word, because it's like, oh, well, always from your past, but that was
Not
now,
always
not
to the
always
future.
to the future. So it's catching those subtleties that you have labeled yourself with to start to release from the body. So noticing something that we're focusing on a lot in my sessions this month is the foundational information that your breath is giving you all the time. So recognizing that you might be having an unconscious belief come through if you notice your breath just shifted, like an interaction with somebody and you're all of a sudden, why am I holding my breath now? Or why am I feeling like I can't get my words out? Right. So there might be something that to be with, to say, oh, okay. So kind of going back to the question you would ask your body when you had that reaction, like, okay, what's there?
So what about good unconscious thoughts in your body? Our human negativity bias is showing today, because we want to problem solve and help people.
Right.
But there are good unconscious beliefs. So how does your body tell you about those? Give us an example there.
So, well, I was just thinking, it made me go think like, yeah, we have that as humans, the ability, and a lot's been studied on frequency, right? So
Yeah.
that's why you hear a lot about gratitude and positive thinking. It isn't just trying to make everything sugar coated. There's actually a frequency to that. And I look at it as, we are negative bias because it's a protective mechanism, right? The whole saying, like, you can't sit there and if you hear a sound in the forest, you're not going to go, oh, is it the birds? You're going to first think it's something dangerous.
It's midnight. It
Right.
can't be the birds.
Yeah. Right. You're going to do something. Your body's going to have that. So part of our journey, I think, as a human being living in a world where, yes, we have to have those protective mechanisms to a degree, but also some of that wiring gets kicked on all the time, that the positive, and I'm just going to say this out loud, I think the positive takes effort because your body, especially if you've grown up with some various traumas and different things where internally there's a lot of subconscious, unconscious protection going on that you're not even, I have clients now that at age, in their 60s is now just like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I've been in fear all my life. I didn't realize
it was normal.
It was normal. I thought this was just how you function. And until you have moments where you come around supportive people to just not put you down, it's not it's not like a negative thing in that way. To me, it's an enlightening thing. I don't have to live in fear. Yes, I need to be cautious in certain situations, right? It's not just saying, throw everything to the wind, but it's like realizing, oh, this fear base that my body exists in and prepares for all the time doesn't have to.
Yeah.
And that takes conscious awareness. Like you said, the neuro-linguistic rewiring is helping the brain and body feel safe. So the nervous system can be like, oh, you're okay.
We're cool.
Yeah. And the connector for that, like I'm going to, invite everybody right now. That's why we always start with breathing at the beginning of our podcast, is the breath is an untapped resource to help you navigate all of that. So
and more.
Yeah. Cause think about it if you get a reaction or just even just like, oh, I'm going to pause here and notice if there's any thoughts running in the background, and you can ask your breath, what's going on here? Did I feel tight in the chest? Was I, and it's an amazing relationship to start having that with your body.
Yeah.
Versus just get up and be facing the world, so to speak.
Well, let's go back to the positivity piece, because I have a guilty pleasure that brings me such great joy. And I'm a real feeler, being the Libra that I am, and being such an empath. And, our social media feeds and the things we watch on TV all inform our unconscious beliefs. So just know that whatever we take in is informing positively or negatively our unconscious beliefs. And so I'm going to forget the title now here all of a sudden.
See, you're having a moment like I did.
Yeah, but I'm older than you. So what's the show? I can picture it with the autistic lovers, autistic.
Oh. I watched a little bit of that.
Gosh, dang it. I love that show. And the new season came out, right?
Okay.
And I find myself borderline addicted. I can't stop watching episodes because it's so uplifting. It is so human. And the folks that they feature are the most amazing beings. They just emote what's on their minds.
Yeah. There's a little less filter.
A little less filter, high intelligence, though, high emotional intelligence. And it is, I feel like it is part of my unconscious beliefs that we're all those people. They don't put on masks. They don't try to put on labels. They're just show up as they are. Do they feel all the things like loneliness and scarcity and why am I different? Yes. But they are uniquely, at least the folks that I'm watching are uniquely capable of, okay, what's next? Okay, what's next? Okay, what's next? And not caught in their unconsciousness. And it's refreshing and it's uplifting and it's meaningful. And I find myself feeling all the feels while watching that show. Yeah. So that's another way that you can feed your own unconscious through other people's unconscious beliefs, out picturing to go, oh, that's so sweet. I can do better. If that makes sense.
Well, I think it brings awareness to your own behavior and your own, especially when you're watching, like, our world is bringing more conscious awareness to people's differences. And that's, before it was kind of like looked at, we didn't talk about that stuff. But when you get to be around and observe people like that, like, oh, wouldn't it be freeing to not have to be so constrained or this or that, and to be actually to really touch base and share what you feel. So I think what you're feeling is those are examples are given that you're like, oh, wouldn't that be nice? And then it helps you to want to tune into that more in your real life.
Right.
And I think that's why we learn from each other. I think that's why, again, podcast or, coming together, just like our retreat coming up. I'm so excited to be around those people for 5 days and be able to hold space and share and feel. And it isn't like my brain goes to the kumbaya thing. It isn't that. It's really holding healing space for that body that has unconscious, subconscious beliefs and restraints that have brought fear and shame and stress and worry, to be able to come into a space to literally let go of some of that. And our goal is, supporting those people and ourselves to lessen some of those patterns.
Supporting all you people. Yeah.
Lessening some of those unconscious beliefs that don't serve us any longer.
Yeah. Our retreat comes up in just a couple short weeks.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking more about this at the retreat for sure. Sedona, Arizona. Sold out now. We're done. We're ready to go. So I think that, in closing, it's really an awareness exercise. Maybe after you are done with this, you can sit for a moment and ask, what are some of my unconscious beliefs that are currently out picturing in my world that if I didn't have them, my life would be better? Or what are the good unconscious beliefs that are showing up that I want more of to continue to make my life better?
Yeah.
And remember, you're not broken. You're patterned. And patterns can change. And the moment we bring compassion and awareness
and grace.
Yes, and grace that was unconscious, we begin creating our own freedom. And while we are on the journey with you, we have done a lot of that work ourselves as individuals. And
still doing that work.
Decade by decade, those ages and stages we always talk about, right? So it's a never ending journey. And
we'd like to have you join us.
We'd love to have you join us. And we'd love for your journey to be everything you want it to be, not be patterned in a way that has been established in your psyche and in your unconscious generations ago. So
let yourself stare. Have a moment afterward. Just let your soft gaze ask that question. What lens are you looking through?
Yeah, let us know in the comments, and please, reach out to us if we can support you in any way. And we'd love to work with you if you're looking for some more support in a coach manner. And also, we love you rating our podcast and telling others. That's how people find us, is by rating us. We love the 5 stars.
I just saw that. Like,
yeah,
hey.
we love it. We're getting more and more ratings. So please find your favorite podcast platform and go on and rate us. Leave us a review. And until then, we'll see you next time on Rise and Thrive. Take care of each other, and don't forget to take care of yourself. See you next time.
Namaste.
Thanks for tuning in to Rise and Thrive, a podcast by Vital Edge Wellness Coaching. If you found this episode meaningful, please rate, review, and share it with someone who might need it. For upcoming retreats and to join the Vital Edge Wellness community, head to vitaledgewellnesscoaching.com. Let's rise and thrive together.